All right, photography. I'm going to show you how to do our pop art photography assignment. So to start, you need a photo of a piece of fruit or a vegetable or really any photograph from above of a food that you generally like. And once you open Photoshop, you're going to hit open. And go ahead and find the piece of fruit that you decided, or not fruit, I'm sorry, the food that you decided to photograph. So you're gonna open the banana that I took a picture of. And I'm also going to open, just for comparison's sake, a second banana that I also photographed. Here it is, on a white background, just so that I can show you guys some differences with this project and of your choice of background here. So first, let's start with this one. My photograph is not facing the right way. So I'm gonna hit enter so that I'm out of crop mode. And then I'm gonna come up to image and then select image rotation. And we've talked about this before. When you have an image that's just not facing the right way, that clockwise is going to make it go to the right, and then rotating it counterclockwise is going to move it toward the left. Okay, so you can decide which way you want your food to face, or if there's no writing on your food and you just don't like the way it's facing, we can also flip so that we have a reflection. So I can flip my banana to go this way instead if I decide to. And then I can rotate it counterclockwise so that it's going in this direction. And that's going to be completely up to you if you feel that you need to reflect your image or if you need to rotate your image. Now, how we're going to do this is we're going to be assembling several photos of the food that we've chosen, in my case, a banana, together so that we have a grid. So once you have your photo open, go ahead and go to File and hit New. And we're going to open a completely new image. Now, if you are working with a photo that is portrait size, then you're going to want this new template to also be portrait. But if you're working with a photo that's already landscape, then you want to make sure that you are using landscape instead. So my banana picture is portrait, so I'm going to go ahead and use my portrait option and hit create. And notice, I'm so sorry I didn't just cover this, that I'm working with a letter size piece of paper with 8.5 and 11 dimensions, and my resolution is at 300, which is very important. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be assembling all of my images of my bananas as I edit them. So the first thing that I need to do here is make sure that this image is going to be nice and bright and ready to use. So I photographed this one on a white background. So what I'm going to want to do is come up to image, adjustments, and then I'm going to go into brightness and contrast. And I'm going to increase my brightness a little bit just so that my background is a lot more bright and it highlights my banana. When you are working on a white background, it's really to your advantage because you're able to really crank up that brightness really high. Versus if you're not working on a white background, it's going to look a little bit more strange if you increase the brightness significantly like I've just done. So for example, let's go over here to this banana. I'm going to go to image, adjustments, brightness and contrast. And notice that as I start to get up around that same height, my background gets really blown out. Okay, so this is going to depend on your lighting choice when you took your photo. If you are in full sun, like I was in this picture outside, I took this picture of banana on a sidewalk. So I'm not going to increase the brightness as much here as I did for this picture, which I took indoors on a white sheet of paper. You can see one more time that my brightness had increased very dramatically on this one. I increased it by 113. Okay, but that gives me some nice rich colors to work with here on my banana. The next thing we're going to do is start to play around with our hues. But before I do that, I need to get a picture of my normal banana over here onto my new template. So what I'm going to do is I need to select my entire banana. I'm going to do that by either going to select all or hitting the short key Control A. And when I do that, you can see that a flashing dotted line has appeared around my banana. As we've talked about before, this flashing dotted line, or as I like to call them, the marching ants, signifies that something on your canvas has been selected. Next, I'm going to copy it. And I can do that with the short key Control C on my keyboard or by going to Edit and hitting Copy. Then I'm going to come over to my new tab here with my new clean canvas. I'm going to paste it on by either hitting Control V on my keyboard or going to Edit, Paste. And you can see now I have my banana on my artboard. Okay, but my banana, like I need to move it, which I can do, but I need to shrink its size so it's going to be able to fit along with other bananas. So in order to do that, I'm going to do something that's called Free Transform. If you go to Edit, you can then scroll down to Free Transform or use the shortcut Control T. You'll now see that a box has appeared around my banana, which is going to allow me to change the size of it. So all I have to do is grab a corner of the banana, not a side and not the top. I always want a corner when I'm resizing. I'm going to resize my banana to take up about half the sheet of paper, half of my canvas from the width. And then I'm going to press Enter on my keyboard to finalize my, my banana placement, right? And if you ever need to change the size, you can go back to Control T and make it a little bit bigger or smaller and then press Enter. So I have my first banana down. Now what I need to do is go back to my original banana image, and it's time for me to start changing the color of my banana. So I'm going to start by deselecting this banana, and you can do that by going to Select and then hitting Deselect or using the shortcut of Control D on your keyboard. Next, I want to select just the banana. And I'm going to do that using one of my favorite selection tools. It's hiding on your toolbar under the Object Selection tool. So if you click and hold down on this guy right here, you'll see that there's an option with a paintbrush and a dotted line that's called the Quick Selection tool. The Quick Selection tool is awesome because it lets me click and drag to make a selection. So what I'm going to do is click and drag all throughout the inside of my banana. You can see that the computer is moving that dotted line as I go to include my whole banana. Once I have a flashing dotted line or the marching ants going around my object, I'm going to decide that I want to change its color. So I'm going to come up to Image, Adjustments, and this time I'm going to select the hue and saturation, which is going to control the color of my photo. Because I only have the banana selected, only the banana is going to be affected by my changes in hue. And right here under the hue bar, you'll see a slider that you can move around. As you move the slider, you will see that your object is going to change colors. In this case, I can have a really crazy looking banana. So I think I'm going to start out with a purple banana and press OK. From here, I want to copy and paste it again to move over to my template with my other banana. So to do that, I'm going to use my shortcut to select all, Control A, use my shortcut to copy, Control C, come over to my template with my other banana, my pop art template, and Control V to paste. I'm going to position my banana where I want it to be, and as you can see, I need to make it the same size as the other one. So I'm going to use Control T for Free Transform, and I'm going to resize my banana. and hit enter. Oop, looks like I'm just the tiniest bit bigger here. This is where attention to detail is really important. So I'm going to hit Control T again. Oops. I've selected the wrong banana. So see, the bananas go on a different layer every time I paste them. So I want to make sure I have the correct layer selected so that I know that I'm grabbing the right banana. Enter. Ugh, now I'm too small. Perfect. Zoom out. Okay, so now I have a banana in yellow and purple. So I'm going to come back to my banana image. And right now the whole thing is selected, but I'm going to show you guys a little shortcut. If you undo the select canvas or use Control Z on your keyboard, it will undo you selecting the whole canvas to copy and go back to your previous selection of just the banana so that you don't have to select it again using the quick selection tool. Or if you want to, if you prefer, you can use the quick selection tool to select the whole thing. So I'm going to come up to image again, adjustments, hue saturation. I'm going to change the banana's color once again. I think this time I want an orange banana. That is really weird looking. So once again, I need to copy the whole thing. So Control A to select all, Control C to copy, come to my pop art template, Control V to paste, Control T for free transform, and resize that banana. Now it looks like my banana is going off the page a little bit. That's okay, because all I have to do to fix that is take my crop tool and I can extend my canvas down so that it fits the entire banana image. That time I got a really good paste in there, so that worked. I'm going to come over to my banana one more time, Control Z to go back to my previous selection, image, adjustments, hue and saturation. I think this time I'm going to change my banana so it's a lovely shade of blue. I definitely don't want to crop. I'm going to hit Control A to select all, Control C to copy, move over to my pop art template, Control V to paste, Control T to free transform. I'm going to move it into where I want it to go. And then the last one should be the easiest one to resize to make it fit. Okay, so as you can see, I now have 4 bananas that are the exact same photo that's just been edited 3 different ways. Right, and that's with a white background. If I come over here, I'm going to deselect this whole thing. Actually, let's Control Z a few times and let's change our banana back to a normal color. If I come here and just try to change the background, you'll notice that the background isn't really going to change. That's because it's white and it can't apply a hue to white or really to black either. Black and white are going to stay exactly the same while we are adjusting hue. So the shadow might change a little bit, but the banana itself won't. If you photographed your food on a background that is not just a plain white background, so for example, a sidewalk like mine, this sidewalk has a color, so I'll be able to change the hue in the background. So should I decide to, for this one, I can use my quick selection tool once again to grab that banana. Very gently. So you can see I got a little bit more besides just the banana here. So with the quick selection tool, I can come up here to the tool menu or the tool properties and hit the subtract button. So I can remove some of the sidewalk that I didn't want to get in my banana selection. There we go. Now I truly have just the banana. So while this is selected, I can go to Image and Adjustments, Hue Saturation, and I can change my hue. And then if I go to Select and Inverse, now you'll see I have a dotted line around the banana and the outside. That means everything but the banana is selected. So if I go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, you can see that I can play around with that hue a little bit more in the background. And if I increase my saturation, I can get some wild colors, like this orange with this pink. Control A to select the whole thing. I think I'll make another new one. I want inches on a letter-sized piece of paper. Create, and go ahead and paste. Wow, this banana is so much bigger. So if you paste something and it's huge, no worries. Just grab the corner when you free transform and make it smaller. Okay, so now I can go back to Control Z. Now I have my background selected, so I can change the hue again. I think this time we'll do purple, or this blue color is beautiful. And I'm going to do Control Z again. Oops. Now I'm undoing my own stuff, which is not fun. Let's go to Adjustments. Hue and Saturation. Up that saturation. Change the hue. I got that blue back. Probably want to deselect at this point and then reselect my food. Give me your banana. Good. The computer learned a little bit better that time. So I can go to Image, Adjustments. This time I want to have a bright blue banana. I can copy it. Oops, looks like I never resized this one permanently. Enter and paste. Control T, make it smaller, and move it into place. So if you want, you can have more colorful backgrounds going on in your pop art versus just the plain white. So if you're looking for an added challenge, I recommend photographing your food on a background of pretty much any color, as long as it's not black or white. And you can get a little bit more pop art crazy with having your food be a different color, as well as your background being a funky color. And then that way you can really embrace the true spirit of pop art. But for now, we're sticking to also accepting this more basic version of it. So now that, let's say I am finally done, I can go to File, Save As. And because I've been largely photographic with this, I want to have a JPEG copy. But first I'm going to call this Banana Pop Art, because that's what I used. And I'm going to save it as a PSD file, so I have the Photoshop file with all of the layers over here. Next, I'm going to come up to File, Save As one more time. Oh, it's currently saving. It's thinking. And this time I'm going to hit the drop-down menu and select JPEG. I want the first JPEG option that just says JPEG. Not JPEG 2000 or JPEG Stereo, just plain JPEG. And then I'm going to hit Save. And then finally, OK. Then I'm going to turn in the JPEG that I just saved on Google Classroom under the Pop Art Photography project.